Hello, welcome to the Working Title Podcast. My name is James McMahon. Today I'm joined by Josh Powers. How you doing, bud?
Doing good, bro.
Awesome. Turn you up a little bit. So today we're going to be reviewing another movie called Velvet Buzzsaw.
Yes. Piece of shit.
I don't know how to describe this movie. 2019, Netflix released.
Yeah.
Like horror movie, I guess, if you want to call it.
Psychological thriller. Window into the avant-garde, expensive art world. I don't know. It's just kind of a mixture.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
Different.
Yeah. So IMDb has it labeled as a horror mystery thriller.
Horror mystery thriller.
Which I don't feel like any of those things were in the movie.
I don't know if it's a thriller by that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah, I think it's really strange how they categorize horror movies nowadays.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, horror movies were like slasher flicks.
Yeah, exactly that. Like when you thought of horror movies, you thought of Jason, Friday the 13th, Freddy Krueger, all of that. Yeah,
and it seems like whenever it got like psychological or there was more of kind of
like when The Ring came out and like that sort of like Sixth Sense.
Yeah, it became
kind of when that. Yeah,
it became more of a thriller sort of thing because there wasn't anything truly scary about it, like jump scary. It was just more like your heart's gonna get racing because something's gonna happen. Yeah. But this one's not really. To me, it wasn't very like, oh, that's scary.
It definitely. I didn't get that at all. It definitely wasn't. Didn't get that from it.
Oh man.
It was good in a lot of ways. But that it was also bad in a lot of ways. I'm very like 50-50 on this one. Yeah, for sure.
I feel exactly the same.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of good to like about it. Hopefully you don't give the impression that we're just going to shit on it.
Oh, yeah. I think I can't say every movie, because if at some point we might review some really bad movies.
I'm just waiting for that time when we're reviewing something that's just truly shitty.
Well, it's hard, because usually like the really, really bad stuff on Netflix is like really, really bad, and you can tell it's really, really bad, and you just want to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But then there's other stuff where it's like, oh, that looks kind of interesting. Yeah. Let's watch that. And then it turns out to be bad.
What made you watch this movie in the first place? Did you hear about it, or did it just pop up on your feed one day randomly?
It just popped up on Netflix. I was like going through it, and I saw it, and I watched the trailer that pops up.
Very intrigued by the name.
Yes. I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And I watched the trailer, and I was like, oh, that looks really interesting, because it shows none of the kills, none of the deaths in it.
Yeah.
And it definitely played up the like the thriller side of it, of like what the hell is going on. There's something going on. You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And then you watch the movie, and it's like, oh, well, that's not really all that interesting when it comes down to it.
Yeah.
Like paintings come alive and kill people.
Yeah.
There's so much you can do with that.
Yeah.
But they didn't do a lot.
It would have been a better movie had they leaned into like to me, I'm very intrigued by that avant-garde high-priced art world, like the whole like politics and reasoning behind the people like that deal art in that scene.
Right.
I'm fascinated by it, and they kind of touch on it a little bit in the movie where they're, this person has this client that wants to buy up all this shit.
Right.
Like I'm intrigued by that. There's like a certain dramatic flair that's there, but I feel like in this movie, you saw touches of that, but then once it was exposed that this guy's paintings were gonna kill you, and that they were painted with like
with
blood and fucking old, once that started coming out, you're like, oh
yeah.
Fuck.
So you touched on it, but the movie's set. Is it set in LA or is it set in Miami?
It starts in Miami. They're in Miami for some sort of art exhibit.
Yeah, which is
modern art exhibit.
It kind of sets the tone a little bit for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Where nothing's truly like really told to you very well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like very quick dialogue explaining who these like random characters are.
Yes.
And then it things that you're told about in that scene don't come into play until later in the movie, where like John Malkovich doesn't even show up until like 20 or 30 minutes into the film. They really should have
had him in there a lot more.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed on that.
Yeah.
Like usually when you see John Malkovich in a movie and it's like a psychological thriller, like you should have taken advantage of that shit, son, because that guy can make a movie.
Yeah,
his presence can make a fucking movie.
Oh, 100. It can make a TV show.
I mean, he's just so intriguing. Everything about it, like the way he plays characters, but I don't know. Maybe I don't want to say it was bad writing or bad, like the way like it was arranged was bad, but it was like it definitely. I felt like if they would have pushed it a little further in certain directions, it could have been a way better flick.
Oh, definitely.
All the groundwork was there for it to be a good flick, but it's just.
And it's really strange looking at the director's other movies that he's like written and directed.
Is he like a pretty accomplished?
No, not really. He's got 13 different movies that he's written and 3 that he's directed, with Velvet Buzzsaw being one of them. Yeah. But it's Dan Gilroy.
Dan Gilroy.
I have no idea who he is, but he wrote and directed Nightcrawler, which is another Jake Gyllenhaal movie. Which is
that an older one?
It's 2014.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little old at this point.
That's got like a fucking mid-90s title to it, Nightcrawler.
But I haven't seen it. I really want to watch it. We should probably review it.
Is it on the Flix as well? The Netflix?
I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to check.
Netflix is crazy these days. It's like here today, gone tomorrow.
Yeah, it really
is.
Fuck? But like Nightcrawler is regarded as this really, really good dark movie. But then this is kind of very much different from that. And he did another, what was it? Another movie. Let me look here. Roman J. Israel Esquire.
That's the name of the movie?
Yeah. With, no, I can't remember. Denzel Washington.
Fucked up title.
Yeah. It's about a Roman J. Israel Esquire. It's about a defense attorney.
Oh, okay.
I remember hearing about it. I don't know. But
Netflix probably paid an ungodly amount of money to make that movie.
Probably. I have to say the effects that they used for like the paintings moving, because that's what happens.
Yeah, the paintings start moving and
it's really strange. The actual like story of it, what happens in the movie, is that Jake Gyllenhaal is a art historian or art dealer of some kind.
I think he's a critic.
That's the word I was looking for. And he knows a girl or knows these people that are art dealers.
Yeah.
And one of the girls that works for one of the art dealers wants to get into the world of selling art from other artists. And she finds this old dude dead in her apartment building.
Yeah, her neighbor.
Yeah, and his door is open and there's just wall-to-wall paintings. And they're like super dark, really crazy paintings. But she goes in and what is it? She calls 911 and then the landlord comes in or something like that. Wasn't super clear to me.
Yeah.
What it was that it was either the landlord or people that knew him somehow, but they were just going to throw the art away.
Yeah.
And for some reason
that was his instructions, because he knew the artist, the Vitrell Deese or whatever the fuck his name was, he knew that the art was haunted, so it was in his explicit instruction to throw it out.
Really?
Yeah. But she was like, no, let me get this shit.
Yeah. Because there was a lot. Like, it was wall to wall.
A lot, for sure.
Oh, my God. But then she steals it out of the dumpster, right?
No, I don't think she stole it out of the dumpster. I think she just took it out of the...
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember that
But then she's talking to the lawyers later, and they're like, no, you found it.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so she takes the art, shows it to her boss, who also becomes entranced by this art.
Yeah.
Is like, we have to show it off, but we can't like show all of it because there's so much. So we're going to like show a couple pieces and then we're going to hide all the other stuff. And then later on, we're going to be like, oh, we found more and show
that shit happens all the goddamn time. Dude.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure there's like a vault of, I think that
Picasso's. Happens with diamonds as well. I've heard things that,
yeah, that's probably happened with diamonds.
Yeah. Cause I mean, if there's fucking so goddamn many, then they're not worth as much. The perceived value declines.
Yeah.
Because of the outrageous number that exists.
Yeah.
But okay, so where were we?
So she's shown the art to her boss, and then they do the first display, which is like a couple paintings, and that's when you're introduced to John Malkovich's character.
Yeah.
Who does he buy one?
I don't know. I think he was another artist.
Yeah, he was another artist who he was in he liked it and wanted to know more about it for some reason. Because I think it's his team. No, it's another team that like figures out that it's painted with blood.
Oh yeah, they send off samples to a lab to a nice looking lab lady.
Like really nice looking lab. Like very strange.
Like this chick would never.
Yeah.
Definitely an act. You look at it and you're like, wow, they cast a hot actress for that. They probably wouldn't be that hot looking of a chick doing lab work.
Yeah.
Not that hot chicks don't do that, but typically.
Right.
It's really uncommon to see.
Yeah.
But so she did it and then discovered that it was blood.
And I think at that point the first death had happened.
Yeah.
Right. Because somebody.
Wasn't it the guy driving the computer IT guy? Was she?
Yes. Which he was driving he was taking the paintings to storage.
Which was one weird thing that was kind of like the first part of the movie where I thought, man, that's not realistic. Like it was clear from the beginning they had established that guy's character as a very untrustworthy dude. He was a dick to everybody. He was just very like, and then that being the case, you're gonna give this guy all of the paintings of this hot new artist, like possibly hundreds of millions of dollars worth of paintings, put them in crates and let this asshole drive it to the middle of nowhere, and then subsequently he gets in a big crash.
Yeah, caused by the paintings.
The paintings cause him to crash. That sounds so hilarious when we say it that way. The paintings cause him to crash.
Because it's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous.
It's almost as ridiculous as that. What is it? Your cell phone that you talking about some horror movie a couple months ago.
Yeah, the app that kills you.
That's almost as ridiculous as that cell phone app that kills you,
dude.
Okay, so
but the paintings cause him to crash, and then the paintings then burn themselves, light themselves on fire. He's able to save one of the paintings, but he gets burned in the process. And where he crashes is right next to like an old gas station, so he goes into the gas station and he puts the painting down. It's a painting of monkeys.
Yeah,
like I don't even. It's like landscape and monkeys in the foreground. And he's like washing his arms off where he got burnt. Yeah. And then the monkeys start to move. And I'm like, at that point, I was like, this is ridiculous. Let's see what happens. And then the monkeys start to come alive and like turn around, and then he looks up and they like yell at him. Right. And then they grab him and pull him in. I'm like,
Jesus.
You could have done and that's the end of the scene. That's it. Then it cuts to some other stuff with Jake Gyllenhaal. He's like, he plays a gay man.
Yeah.
But he gets into a relationship with the girl who finds the art.
Yeah.
Before he knows that she found the art.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like, as she gets more popular, their relationship breaks apart.
Yeah.
Because now she's with some other dude.
On the upper echelon. Now she's not just a chick answering phones and getting coffee. Now she's like in the game.
Yeah.
She's slinging paintings.
Oh. Yeah. Oh my God. There's just so much about this movie that's
I don't like her character too. I mean, at the beginning she's kind of like sort of likable. The girl who we're talking about, the young attractive African American lady. I do not know her name.
Neither do I.
But at the beginning she's kind of likable, and then eventually, as she moves on up in the world, she starts to become a little bit of a bitch.
Yeah, a little bit.
a lot of it. But then eventually, she's standing outside in a parking lot, and then eventually the paintings cause an optical illusion to happen where there's a random art gallery that just pops up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
She's entranced by it, so she walks into it, but she knows that it's
not there.
It's not there, and then she goes in there, and eventually she gets locked in, and the paintings strike again.
Which doesn't make any sense. Her cell phone app
strikes again.
Yeah. So the whole premise of the movie is the paintings are possessed by this old dude because he painted it in his blood, and he had like this really dark past.
He was like a nobody. He died in obscurity.
Yeah, but that
was part of the story. Like part of what made him intriguing was that he
that he was nobody, and then
then he
look
died.
at this amazing art by this dead
artist. That's how it works, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot.
Just the most ridiculous part.
Now that you're gone, man, that's just going to be worth it for your grandkids.
Not your grandkids. Some random stranger who finds your art and then sells it to some other random stranger.
I think that's what happened with do you remember that there was recently, maybe like 8 months or a year ago, somewhere in that time window.
Mm.
I think it was, the name of the painting was Salvador Mundi. It was a DaVinci painting that just popped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Out of fucking nowhere. It's like, oh, this is a DaVinci. And sold to some Saudi, some royal or somebody over there with some sort of connection.
I think I've heard of that. I remember that. I've heard the name before.
But does that kind of shit just pop out of nowhere, or was that like a planned thing? You know,
I don't know. It could be.
It seems like kind of suspicious because the painting ended up selling for like $430 million. Yeah. And it's on some dude's yacht.
Yeah.
He's like, can you imagine having that kind of money? You're like, yeah, no, it's okay. Put it on the thing that like could spill at any second. Yep. Or not spill, but sink. You know.
Yeah. You know, when you got so much money, you can just throw it away.
It doesn't even matter, bro. Yeah. But at painting at that level, it probably is more of like an investment.
Well, yeah, of course.
You know, I think it is.
I think.
But you want to like hang that in your house?
Well, that's what a lot of art collectors see it as, right? Yeah. Is that at some point this is going to be worth so much more than I paid for it.
That's even the case.
Yeah.
You know, it's just art. It's just like something cool to look at.
Yeah. It's the same with vinyls almost, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like, true.
A Prince vinyl was $15 back in the day when it released, but now it's like $45, you know? It's ridiculous. And it's in terrible condition.
There's like only certain albums that are like...
Yeah.
That are worth it, like a couple Elton John albums, fucking Fleetwood Mac, Pink Floyd.
Yeah, I've seen Rolling Stones albums go for way too much.
Yeah,
it's like, really, Stones?
Why?
Come on.
Why? Yeah, I don't know. There's just something. I think it's probably has to do with our culture romanticizing things long after their era has departed.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah.
Oh, but this movie had so much going for it. It had such an interesting premise.
Yeah,
that, like
there was good
possessed
things too.
Art.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm having, now that we've kind of shit on it, I'm having trouble remembering what the good things are. But I definitely I was able to watch it all the way through and like enjoy parts of it.
Oh yeah, sure. There are parts to it that are enjoyable, and it's the parts that have to do with the paintings.
Yeah.
You know, because like a painting is in the room where a death happens, where there's only 4 or 5 actual like kills in the movie. There's the where the dude gets pulled into the painting at the beginning.
Yeah.
There's another dude who gets tricked into hanging himself.
Oh yeah.
Right. Remember that? That's the second death.
That's a weird scene.
There's the Toni Collette kill, which is really fucking good. Which it doesn't have anything to do with the painting, but it's so interesting because it has something to do with an art world sort of thing. Then there's the girl who finds the paintings who gets turned into art.
Oh yeah, that was weird.
She
got turned into art.
Yeah, like the ink of this random art just kind of like crawls up her legs, and she becomes a graffiti painting.
I thought that was kind of stupid.
It's so stupid.
I thought that particular move was stupid. I would have just liked to see a nice bloody death on that one. But.
It would be so much cooler to have it been like a big splatter on the wall.
Yeah.
You know, instead of just like, now she's a pretty graffiti girl on the wall.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And then Jake Gyllenhaal's death, where he gets like strangled off screen by a robot thing.
Yeah, that robot thing, the killer robot thing at the end.
Yeah, the homeless man of the future or something like that.
Yeah, the paintings infected the homeless man of the future.
Has nothing to do with the paintings. It's so dumb.
Paintings took the homeless man of the future and made him choke. Jake choke. It's really ridiculous when I say it like that.
Yeah. But and then the last death, I think, is the coolest death. Is Renee Russo's death right at the end, where the painting that she has is of herself like kneeling with her cat with some like stone pillar behind her.
Yeah.
And throughout the paintings that are associated with the different kills look like those different kills. So the one where the dude's hanging or hangs himself, it's a dude that's like hanging within the painting. And then hers is the actual shot of where she's like kneeling down with her cat on her left and this big stone pillar, and you're like, oh shit, she's gonna get squished or something like that.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen. The pillar falls like right next to her, but she's got a tattoo.
Oh, right? Yeah, and the fucking tattoo, the buzzsaw starts. Yeah. That's dumb too.
And the tattoo of a velvet buzzsaw with the name of the movie, like, cuts her head off.
That's corny as shit, dude.
It's super corny. That's probably my favorite though.
Oh, is your favorite?
Yeah, because I was like,
famous.
the entire movie is like it's the paintings that are killing people. Yeah. Right? That's what they're setting up, is that these paintings are showing you how these people are going to die. And then they set it up that this is how she's going to die. This is what's going to kill her, or this is going to kill her. Her cat's going to attack her, or this stone pillar is going to fall on her, or something like that. And then it happens, or the stone pillar falls, and like, does it kill the cat? I can't remember. It like squishes something or just falls right next to her. And then she gets killed by the tattoo. I'm like, that's interesting. You kind of flipped it where every painting has been of a death. Now this one's not. It's completely different. I thought it was good.
I'm sorry. Please.
I thought that kill was good. That was the only one.
But like, I think maybe one thing that was good about it was that it kind of showcased how, these people kind of had to pay the price for being greedy, essentially. Yes. Taking these paintings that they knew there was explicit instructions from the dude who made them to get rid of them. To get rid of them, but they still knowing that they were just blinded by the opportunity to make so much money. And so I thought that was a nice moral parallel that they painted.
Yeah.
Pretty much saying like, don't be a greedy dick. But
yeah,
I mean, they I don't know.
That feels like that's all the movie had to say. It was like,
don't be a greedy.
Yeah, don't be greedy.
When your neighbor, the apartment that you may or may not live in, dies, throw away their art.
Yeah. Ugh.
Otherwise, it could kill you like a cell phone app.
That movie's trash.
Oh,
it's
man.
So bad. This one.
Usually we do fun movie, like we're pretty objective, and like the movies that we've been reviewing have been like pretty good movies for the most part. This is like the first one though. And I have to say, there's a sick part of me that kind of likes shitting on things. It's a little. Well,
it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because I've been watching a lot of like film reviews lately.
Yeah.
And it's like, especially bad movie reviews.
Yeah.
And watching the movies with these people that have been reviewing them on Red Letter Media, it's like, well, what makes it bad? These movies that they're watching. Okay. And it's a bunch of different things of like bad directing, bad scripting, bad set design. Nobody really cared about making the movie. Or they cared too much and tried really hard, but it just didn't work out. And I've been wondering, like, what makes a good movie then? Because if people care so much and it just doesn't work out,
but that
people care so much when they make good movies too.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why did it work out here instead of there?
I feel like that. I'm beginning to learn that more and more, like with songs. Like I feel like there's times where songs come and it's just so effortless, and like the process, even the editing process of like making it what it will ultimately be, you're like, wow, that was just so effortless and easy. I think that's what makes a great movie, is like having worked so hard at like and failed so many times at like the process, and so eventually like you trained yourself to be good at it. Right. But then there's also luck. I feel like there's a big part of luck.
Yeah,
I've had that too, where like with songs I will just work on one super fucking hard, like I just give my heart and soul into it, and when I'm done, I'm like, this is just not good what I've done here. Right. But then the best shit that I've done, it's like it just comes out effortless. But I've failed so many times doing the other shit, working hard at the other shit, that when it did happen,
right,
I was like, oh, okay. Because of all that other failure that happened, I earned it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe there's that aspect to it. Obviously, that's just my own experience. I don't know if that's how it works for everybody, but it is an interesting thing to ponder. Like what makes this a good one and what this one a bad one.
Yeah, because there's definitely some movies that I think are good, that I really enjoy, that I've heard other people don't like at all for certain aspects that I enjoy. And it's just like, well, is it still a good movie, or is it a bad movie at that point?
Yeah.
It's
I think if
really
you
strange.
enjoy, that's all that matters. It's kind of like a song, though. If it speaks to you in some way and you like it, then it's good. It doesn't really matter what other people say about it.
Yeah, I guess so.
I like some Limp Bizkit songs. That's not a very popular opinion to have with some people, but I like it. It reminds me of childhood. There's a couple good ones, and it doesn't really bother me at this point if somebody else doesn't like something that I like.
Right.
But I know what you mean. It kind of makes you beg the question, like, does it really suck? Am I just blind? Am I not seeing this? So I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Okay, so let's talk about the 1-10 scale for this one, Seamus.
Oh, God.
Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, we were looking at IMDb right before we started recording, and it has, what, a 5.7?
5.7.
Man, I have to 100% agree with that. I give it a 5. I don't think it's a 5? Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it's a...
Would you use mediocre?
Yes. It does okay in some aspects. I think the cinematography is pretty good.
Yeah, I do agree they did good.
Yeah. Like when it's lit very well. Like the first scene where they're in the museum during the art show looks really good. And then
they did a good job curating all the art that was in the movie.
Yes, very good.
Imagine like some dude probably painted all those paintings.
Yeah.
For the movie.
Actually, probably. Yeah. Oh my God.
God, who knows how long that must have taken.
Probably a very long time.
The guy probably fucking had PTSD.
Maybe.
After painting all those fucked up.
After painting it with his own blood.
Yeah. I'm actually curious to see now. I'm gonna legitimately look that up.
Yeah, you should. I think it would be interesting because it's an interesting concept. Yeah.
But you give it a 5.
I give it a 5. I didn't really like it. I didn't hate it. It's not like it's not an offensive movie.
Yeah.
But I don't think they did as good as they could have.
I'll give it a 6.
A 6? Okay.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah. I wanted to go lower, but I think I think a 6.
Yeah. This is actually like the first quote unquote bad movie
we've been fucking we did our Bloody Christmas where we had Tarantino's. So I mean, that's kind of like a high standard to set, Then we just did The Irishman. I mean, there's so many good movies that we mostly review only great movies.
Yeah.
On this channel.
We're slowly we're going out to in. Or from inside out where it's like the good stuff and now we're going out to the outside. Yeah. Where it's all bad.
That's true.
There's so much bad. But also so much good.
But this has been very fun though, so I think we'll have to maybe watch more bad ones just for fun.
Yeah. Oh. Yes. All right. Well, that's going to be this episode of Working Title Podcast. If you want to check out Velvet Buzzsaw, you can find it on Netflix. I'm sure it'll stay on there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix produced movie.
That's why it's so bad.
Man, sometimes they do good, sometimes they don't. This one was
It's not right Stranger Things, guy.
Yeah. Oh. All right. Well, thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time where we talk about
other shit.
Other shit. All right. Bye.